Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and today we're going to be taking a look at the complete history of the RMS Empress of Britain. My very first time covering a Canadian Pacific liner, as voted for by you guys, because I put it in my community tab, I think it was a few days ago. I did announce it in my Baltic video that there was a community tab, but not all of you voted, you lazy bones. But, yeah, let's get into the video. Actually, before we get into the video, I'd just like to say sorry about the lack of upload. Hopefully when this video comes out, I'll be able to upload more frequently, because recently I've been a bit busy with schoolwork, and I've been not getting as much sleep. As well as this, I've also had a slight daily problem with homework, which I've been spending most of my time trying to resolve. So I haven't been working on as many videos, but hopefully that ends and I'll be able to upload slightly more frequently after this video, obviously, or this video's coming out. So, any further ado, let's get into the video. In World War I, the Canadian Pacific Fleet was decimated by the German U-boat, which resulted in the line having to rebuild most of their fleet. Thankfully for the Canadian Pacific Line, the 1920s was a time of economic prosperity, which made their job a lot easier. But in 1928, the Canadian Pacific Line decided that they needed a brand new ship, as their fleet was beginning to age. So they began work on their new ship, which was to be called the RMS Empress of Britain, the second ship to bear that name. Her keel was laid down on the 28th of November 1928 in Clydebank, Scotland, and she was to be built by John Brown Company. Yes, the people who built the Aquitania. Anyways, she was launched on the 11th of June 1930 by the Prince of Wales, and she would have 9 water tube boilers, and she also had 8 Yarrow boilers. She was also given a Johnson boiler. Wait, wrong one. Ah, yes, here we go. Anyways, where was I? Oh, yep, there we go. We were talking about her boilers and engines. She had 12 steam turbines driving 4 propellers and her glorious single reduction shafts. But her engines weren't the only thing that was glorious, as she had some amazing interiors, one of which was the Empress room, that was designed by an English painter called Sir John Lavery, and the colours he chose were amazing, as he chose pink, blue and silver to brighten up the ballroom, and it featured a stunning floor made of Austrian oak. Ironic considering her end and all, but anyways, she also had a mirrored wall and a stage with a piano on top of it. The room was centered with a gorgeous dome that had planets and star constellations. And thanks to a projection booth, this beauty could become a movie theatre. And when you exit this room, you'd be greeted by 2 long hallways called the Mall that led to her grand staircase. Had beautiful oak walls. But enough dribbling over these interiors, as we need to cover her career, which was just as glorious. Empress of Britain began her sea trials on the 11th of April 1931, then left on her maiden voyage on May the 27th of the exact same year. And this would be the first of many. But the Empress would not only serve as an ocean liner, because she would also serve as a cruise ship. One of these was on December 3rd, 1931, when she left for her first 128-day cruise. To put that in perspective, that is 4 months. Nice. Anyways, enough of that, as in one of her voyages in May of 1935, the infamous RMS Olympic was laid up next to her, and a photo was taken. Then, in June of 1939, yes, I am skipping a bit ahead here, she would have the shortest passenger list in her career, with only 40 passengers on board. But the important part of this is not the quantity of passengers, but in fact who the passengers were, as 2 of the passengers on board was King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, aka the Queen's mother. Well, no, the ex-Queen's mother, she is now long dead. But anyways, these good times wouldn't last. Soon she would be pulled into a gigantic war. On the 2nd of September 1939, the Empress of Britain left for what would become the final voyage she would sail with the Canadian Pacific Line. as the very next day Hitler invaded Poland, which resulted in Canada declaring war on Germany 6 days later. This voyage would also prove to be the fullest. Is that even a word? It doesn't matter, as this voyage would prove to be the biggest passenger book in her career. But the war that would lead to this success would also lead to her downfall, which started by her being requisitioned by the Canadian government, where she would be repainted grey and then converted into a troop ship. And one of these voyages took her to New Zealand, and on her return from this voyage, she would join the $1 million convoy consisting of the Aquitania, Empress of Canada, Empress of Japan, Mauretania II, gotta love that ship, and the Queen Mary. But this would ultimately result in her demise. On October 26, 1940, the Empress of Britain was on a patrol near Ireland, but unfortunately the Empress of Britain wasn't alone, as a bomb was dropped on her. As a German plane turned around and flew overhead. But this wasn't the last bomb to be dropped on her, as 2 more was dropped, which started a fire that began to overwhelm the ship, causing the crew to abandon her, which resulted in only a skeleton crew being left. But this would be useless anyways, as she was no longer able to move under her own power. So now I know what you're probably thinking. This caused her to capsize and sink. Well, Sonny Jim, you would be wrong, as she stayed afloat and was being towed when a U-boat found her and thought, you know what, the Empress's day isn't as bad enough, and they decided to then fire 2 torpedoes. One missed and the other hit, which caused an explosion, which was initially believed to be caused by fire reaching the boiler room. But however, this theory would soon be debunked, as the Empress began to capsize, due to the amount of water entering her. But if things couldn't get any worse for the Empress, another torpedo was fired into her side, sealing the Empress's fate. She finally capsized and sank at 2:05 AM on October the 28th. During the war, North Africa was struggling to pay off its debt, so the British Empire was transporting gold to North Africa to help improve its credit. Now, rumours say the Empress had been docked in South Africa, one of the biggest gold producers, which sparked rumours of gold being in her wreck somewhere. But then, in 1995, the wreck of the Empress was found upside down by salvagers. And when they found the bullion room, they saw a massive, empty room with no gold. But they had a bony friend in there. Now, you might be wondering what happened to the gold. Well, it's simple. Chances are, when the Empress was on fire, they moved the gold into a lifeboat. And the poor fellow whose body is inside the bullion room was most likely someone involved in the salvage. I bet that death must have sucked pretty bad, but on the bright side, in 2018, someone made a novel called The Empress, which featured a fictional account on the poor sod in the bullion room. Still though, how? Someone should give this guy a memorial or something. Hello everybody, it is I, future Captain Oblivious Mist, or future Dylan. And I'd just like to say thank you if you did vote on the poll for the next video. And if you have seen my other community tab post, my next video without fillers should be Europa. My next filler video will probably be Georgic. But yes, I now no longer as well have much left to do with like schoolwork. In fact, my schoolwork's all done and dealt with, majority of it anyways. So we'll have to worry about that for a while. So hopefully we'll be able to upload more frequently now, starting with the Empress of Britain. But yeah, it is good to be back. Alright, that's really all I've got to say. As well as that, I've gone and I've started to bring back the blooper section. So you're going to see some bloopers from my intro, and you're going to see some bloopers from me actually doing the recording of the video. So thank you for watching, and goodbye. Also, please enjoy the bloopers. Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and today we're going to be doing a good video. Don't ask me what kind of video is. Not even I know. Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist. Today we're going to be taking a look at the complete history of the RMS Empress of Britain. Yeah, I think I spent too much time working on the Baltic. I was about to say the RMS Empress of Baltic. Well, after that, it's retake. To brighten up the ballroom, and it featured a stunning floor made of Austrian joke. The hell's Austrian joke? On October 26, 1940, the Empress of Britain was on a patrol near Ireland, but unfortunately, the Empress wasn't alone, as a bomb was dropped as her. Yes, because the Empress. It burns! It burns! This take is just getting better and better. First, I say as she dropped a bomb, okay, and then someone decides to message me. This is a brilliant. This is just a brilliant take, yeah. This is gonna make it into the video, definitely. Oh dear.